Commander Firefly detected.
Welcome back, agents. It's D Werewolf Gaming, and today we're shining a spotlight on the Pestilence LMG. This is a top LMG you can grab from the general loot pool. Just set your target loot to LMGs, and you can form this gun in the countdown, the summit, retaliations, or even various projects in the game, such as priority objectives. Now, what makes this Pestilence special is its talent. It applies a damage over time effect that scales directly with your weapon damage, not critical hit chance or critical hit damage. So basically, the stronger your weapon damage is, the more potent those ticks become. In this video, I'll break down exactly how that talent works. You'll see the build in action with no seasonal modifiers boosting my damage whatsoever. We do have the global modifiers active, but none of that will actually increase weapon damage. Plus, I will be using one piece of prototype gear and a prototype weapon. To be honest with you, agents, escalations have been tough, and leveling gear to level 30 is still expensive, even for a veteran player like me. Now, in today's gameplay, we will jump into some District Union Arena on Legendary. Keep in mind though, I won't be able to finish the run because the servers are going to restart as soon as I make it to the boss. So if this sounds like something that you'd be interested in taking a look at and checking out, agents, let's get into it. And again, this is D Werewolf Gaming. So let's go over this build. Again, the star of the show is the Pestilence LMG. This gun is a beast. As you can see, it is fully maxed out with a weapon expertise of 30%, and the core attributes are fully maxed out as well. Now, as far as the talent on this gun, this is what makes this gun really unique. It's called Plague of the Outcast. Hits apply debuff, dealing 100% weapon damage over 10 seconds. This stacks up to 50 times. Whenever an enemy dies with this debuff, 100% of the stacks are transferred to a nearby enemy within 25 meters. So that even those enemies that are hiding, you can easily take them out as well. For our secondary, we were using the Lexington, and I did upgrade this to prototype. It did give us the health is increased by 6% of your base total armor. So we will reroll that at some point. As you can see, again, to upgrade to prototype, your weapon or gear needs to be at least level 30. We did get that 15% increase in damage to target out of cover, which is great. And the talent at the time I did have killer. At the time I didn't know that our weapons would be locked. Whenever you did upgrade to prototype, I thought you still would be able to change the talent at that time period. But killer talent is amazing as well. Killing an enemy with a critical hit grants 70% critical hit damage for 10 seconds. Like I said, I would have went with something that does not need a kill to get the damage, but still worked pretty good in the gameplay. As far as the mods, we do have 5% critical hit chance, plus 15 rounds, and a 10% critical hit damage mod. For our sidearm agents, you already know it is the quick step pistol, primarily for that talent, which is called sport mode. You will get plus 20% increase in movement speed, but the bonuses does not stack with other movement speed bonuses in the game. We are upgrading the prototype is Striker, so there's one reason why I am wearing 4 pieces of the Striker set, which is giving us 15% increase in weapon handling, 15% increase in rate of fire, and you also get Striker's Gamble, where weapon hits increase total weapon damage by 0.65%, stacking up to 100 times. So basically 100 stacks, that is 65% increase in weapon damage. Keep in mind, 1 stack is lost per second between 0 and 50 stacks, and 2 stacks are lost between 50 and 100. For the core attribute, we do have weapon damage core, and we do have a 12% critical hit damage and a 6% critical hit chance attribute. For the chest piece agents, we do have on 1 piece of the Seska, which 1 piece gives us plus 8% critical hit chance. For the core attribute, we do have a weapon damage core. We do have 6% critical hit chance attributes and a 12% critical hit damage attribute. For the talent, we did roll Obliterate, and critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds. This stacks up to 20 times. So basically a max stack, that is 20% increase in weapon damage. Now, there are many other options when it comes to this particular setup because Striker's gear is so flexible. You could have easily just went with the Equalizer chest, which gives you the perfect Obliterate talent, which basically you can get up to 24% increase in weapon damage, and also you get 5% increase in more rate of fire, which is more damage as well. So like I said, this build is very flexible, especially when using the Striker gear set. You could even went with 1 piece of the Bellstone Armory, which would have gave you 1% armory gen, which is great as well, and still went with any talent you prefer. You could have even went with Intimidate, but you know, for this build today, we were primarily using the Obliterate talent. And one of my favorite chest pieces to wear as well is the Palisade Steelwork brand set, which one piece gives you 10% armor on a kill, so that's more survivability. And again, roll the talent ability rate on that as well. So like I said, in the Grupo Sombro chest would work great as well, because you could get one piece do give you 13% increase in critical hit damage. So there are many great options, and all would have worked. Now, first piece of prototype gear that we did upgrade was our Striker's holster. As you can see, we did get the talent, which gives it basically provides a 2.5% chance of reducing skill cooldowns by 0.2 seconds for each bullet that hits. And but the primary thing that really shines is that core attribute. What it did boost the weapon damage to 22.5%, so that is great. For the knee pads, we do have for the core attribute, we do have weapon damage core with a 6% critical hit chance attribute. In the gloves, we do have a weapon damage core for the core attribute with another 6% critical hit chance attribute. For the backpack agents, we are utilizing the Memento Exotic backpack primarily because it comes with all three cores. That is weapon, armor, and a skill tier. We do have a 12% critical hit damage attribute on it as well. And the talent on this backpack is what truly shines. It's called Kill Confirm. This exotic backpack basically gives you two buffs. One is short and long-term buff, and this is how it works. Enemies you kill drop a trophy on death. Collecting those trophies provides both a short and long-term buff. The first one scales with the number of core attributes equipped, and this lasts for 10 seconds. So basically, for each red coil you have in your build, you'll be getting 5% increase in weapon damage. For each blue, you'll be getting 10% in bonus armor. For each yellow, you'll be getting 5% increase in skill efficiency. Keep in mind that is a short-term buff, and each time you pick up a trophy, depending on the number of core attributes, you will be getting that buff. Now, the long-term buff, basically, what you do is each trophy you collect, you're going to be getting an additional 1% weapon damage, 1% skill efficiency, and 0.1% armor regeneration for 300 seconds. At max stack, you will be sitting with 30% increase in weapon damage, 30% increase in skill efficiency, and 3% armor regeneration. Keep in mind, each time you do pick up a trophy on that long-term buff, it basically refreshes that talent, and it lasts for five minutes, so that's great. As far as the skills, you will see in the gameplay, I will be changing out my skills very often. One skill that I do enjoy, especially on Legendary, or even when I was tackling escalations, was the shock trap. Believe it or not, this is a very useful talent crowd control effect that stuns those enemies, locks them in place, gives you enough time to do damage. And also always agents we do have on the Reviver Hive, just in case we go down, we get a second chance to get back up. So in the gameplay, I will also be using the Striker's drone as well. The Striker's drone is great for distractions. Now, as far as our modifiers, we are still using the Cloud Armor because this is great because it gives you that basically a little bit of armor repair whenever you're damaged, and basically whenever you activate it, you will repair armor to yourself and allies within 10 meter radius. Now, whenever you do level this up, when you get to level 5, it permanently increases all base module stacks by 1, and on activation, enemies that are within that radius are blinded for 7 seconds. So that is a great crowd control effect to get you out of cover, or even give you enough time to take those enemies out. As far as our passive modifiers, we do have compressed offense, and this decreases offensive stacks by 10, but each offensive stack is 50% more potent when calculating the effective stats, so it's just making it more stronger. Primarily this build, this passive modifiers I'm using agents I didn't really change that out. This is the one I was using when I was using my backfire build, because overall I enjoyed that increasing weapon handling, so I did increase the amount of hazard protection on that backfire build to get a little bit more weapon handling, because weapon handling is great. Basically you get increasing reload speed, weapon swap, basically, overall just great in the gameplay. But the second passive we did use was the Convert 2 defensive one, and we did use the Nullify passive modifier as well. And so the goal was to get improved weapon handling. We did get a little bit more hazard protection with 20%, and then we did have 20% increase in skill damage, which worked great when we was using the Striker's drone. And again, this was the modifiers with my backfire build I was using, but I just didn't change them out for this build. As far as our weapon stats on this build, we are sitting right there. With the Pestilence LMG, we have a base damage of 129,202 weapon damage, critical hit chance 54 with a really low critical hit damage. But keep in mind, we wasn't really focusing on that, because you will see in the gameplay we will be doing pretty good damage, even with a low critical hit damage of only 84%. Now with the Lexington, we did have a 60% critical hit chance with 91% critical hit damage with 75% increase in headshot damage. Let's take a look at the armor in this build. This build, agents, you will see in the gameplay. When I get to the second half of the gameplay, I will change up those armor cores, just to let you know that, so I can get a little bit more armor, and I will change out some of those mods to add protection from elite on my build. Now we did have 1,037,994 armor, and we did have a little bit of armor on the kill, And basically, we had 0 armor regeneration on this build, but you do get your stacks from the memento exotic backpack. You will be sitting right there at 3% armor regeneration on this build. So overall, this build, this is the first part of the gameplay. I was only running with 1 million armor, but when I get near the end of the gameplay on Legendary, on District Union, I will change and have about 1.6 million armor on that build. Now, as far as we did go with the Gunner class specialization, primarily for the passives, they are all great. Basically, every third reload is 50% faster, and when you kill an enemy, you get 5% increase in rate of fire for 5 seconds on the kill. Also, you generate 10% of your ammo capacity every 60 seconds, and members of your party will receive 5% of that. Whenever you're not moving for at least 1 second, you will get 10% increase in weapon handling. One last thing, agents, is don't forget to equip the correct weapon element to get your bonus and 15% increase in weapon damage. It can make a difference in the amount of damage you're doing in your gameplay. Alright, agents, another thing I do want to mention that even though I am using the Striker's gear set with this build would have worked great with any other type of gear sets. For example, the tipping scales is amazing with LMGs. It was designed for LMGs. Even the Langmo set works great as well. There are many different variations of this build that work great. But overall, like I stated earlier, this was the gear set that I am leveling up to prototype. So it's one of the primary reasons why I was running this with a Striker setup. But like stated earlier, you could easily just use this with any other gear set of your choice. With that being said, agents, if you like the content, please feel free to hit that like, share, and subscribe. Also turn on the notification bell so you can stay informed whenever I do drop videos. Another thing I do want to mention is that I will be cutting out some certain sections just to keep this video from being so long. On top of that, agents, I will show you up to the fight to where I make it to the boss, and then I will get kicked because of the server restart. A lot of times before the previous updates, I was able to still continue to play, but now for some reason, whenever it gets to that server restart, it automatically kicks me out of the game. And then sometimes it used to take me back to the same location. It used to be like a little save point. But for some reason now it doesn't even give you a save point, and just basically makes you restart the whole entire mission over. Stay strong, stay sharp. D-Werewolf Gaming out.
Medical assistance needed. It's critical. Immediate medical assistance needed. Serious trauma detected. Agent out of action.